Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone, and today we're going to be talking about utilizing JavaScript forms. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is just go on and create up the basis of our HTML file, and this example we're going to make is going to be for maybe a business related form. Let's say maybe you want to create up a meeting, okay, and you want to have notes for it. So let's go on and create that up. First off, let's go on and fill this out. And what do we initially want in here? Let's make it what? Business meeting form. Okay. And we want to also put in, and maybe here we'll actually put the form in here. Okay, as we normally do. So what are we going to have inside the form? So we'll do form, and instead of the action in here, I actually want to have in here an ID, and we're going to call this a meeting form. Okay. And inside of our meeting form, we want to have a date, a notes input, and maybe a time, and a submit button. So let's go on and put all of those in. So first off, let's create up a label for our date input. Okay, and we'll have date. Then let's put in an input in here for date. And again, the type is going to be date, our name will be date input, and our ID will also be date input. And we're going to add in another thing in here. And let's say that you want to make sure that it's required for someone to put something into an element. So you can do required, okay? And this is going to make sure that they have to fill in that information, okay? Or they have to have something in that input. So then let's make another label in here, and this will be for our time input, and that will be for time. And then let's also put in our input here for time, and again we'll do time input and time input. And again, we want this to be required. Now again, no matter what, the date and time are going to be required. So now let's put in a text area for our notes. And let's put in a notes input, and we want it to be a pretty decent size area. Doesn't have to be too big initially. And let's also put in a placeholder here and say enter meeting notes here. And last but definitely not least in here, let's go in and put in a button. Okay. A button for submit. And this here will be schedule meeting. Okay. Now again, I know we all use something for such as Zoom or Teams or something else, but it's still nice to at least have something that you just this type of example here. So inside we're also going to put in a div here for meeting summary, so later on we can have a place to actually store our information. Now we have two options here after this. Okay, we can put in our script, and we can write this in our code in here, our JavaScript here. But to be honest, I like to keep it separate because we're making an application now. So I'm going to call this app.js, and we're going to put that our script src app.js. All right, and it's going to be here so that we are able to access it. So the next thing we want to do is inside of our JavaScript app, we're going to grab up our elements. So remember, go back to our DOM example if you need help with this. So document.get element by ID. And here we want our meeting form. And we're going to add an event listener here. And we're going to listen for submit. And then let's go on and inside of this, we're going to create up some function. And instead of just E, let me put in event. All right. And here we want to do event.prevent default. Okay. And so this event.default is going to actually just stop it from automatically submitting. And we want to actually do something with the data. All right, so we want const date is equal to our document.get element by ID, and we want the date input dot value. You said dot value. I want the value. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing for the time. We're going to do the same thing as well for the notes. And let's put it as note because I don't like them being different sizes there. Dot get element by ID, and we want notes input, and again dot value. Now, next thing we want to do is we're going to grab up. So all of that was putting in our script. Now we want to grab this piece in right here. And we want to add in a little bit extra. We want to actually put in the information here. So we can do document.get element by ID, meeting summary, inner HTML here. And this is actually going to be, let me put this like this. Going to be, we're going to actually insert in some HTML. Okay, so we want an H2 header in here, and it's going to be meeting scheduled. And we need to put in our HTML closing tag there for our header. And we want a one paragraph here, and it's going to be strong, okay, for our date. And we want to also make sure to end this strong tag as well. And then we're going to input in date, and we're going to also close that off with a P tag. And now what we're going to do, I'm just going to copy this over, and we're going to change this up. So this would be time and time, note, and note. Okay. And so this creates up, and this should automatically fill in our div in here. So let's go on and give this a try. So let me refresh this, and notice now doesn't look very good. I kind of like it like that. So let's just leave it there for now. And we have in here our date and our time. And so let's pick it for tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. and we're going to need to talk about your outstanding performance last week. Signed, Dr. Reed. So we can now schedule a meeting, and notice here we have our date, our time, as well as the note that we had. Now again, we could always make this look prettier with some HTML stuff, some CSS. We could put in breaks in here. But again, that is for other things that you would want to potentially work on with it. But what have we actually gone through here? Well, the HTML form includes the fields for date, time, and notes of a meeting, which are common elements in a business scheduling app. Now, the next thing, we've added in JavaScript event listeners to the form. Okay, so we've talked about that, so let's go here. We've added in our event listeners to the form. When the form is submitted, the default page is reloaded. Reload is prevented. Okay, that's with this. So this prevents auto reload. All right, and then the script retrieves the values from each input field and updates the content of the div to display the summary of the meeting. Now, this is a very basic example of how JavaScript can be used to enhance business forms on websites. It can be further developed again with additional features like maybe validations, or maybe you want integrations with the calendar apps, or styling to meet a business branding. Okay, if you guys like this and you want more of this type of content, please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.